Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
Preventing distractions behind the wheel. That's the goal of a new law that puts Michigan in the hands-free driving club that includes now 26 other states. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jason Colthorpe. The new law makes it illegal to drive while holding or using a cell phone by changing the Michigan Vehicle Code. The changes will modernize existing laws to match the amount of tech that you find in a lot of today's new cars. Let's get out to Victor Williams covering this for us today. And Victor, drivers could pay a real price if they don't abide by this new law.
Oh yeah, Jason, that is the case. And just hours ago, we saw the governor putting that pen to paper, doing what she says is ultimately going to make driving a lot safer for the folks out there on the roads. Governor Whitmer insisting that way too many people have lost their lives to drivers being distracted. Now, because of these newly signed bills, just like you said, drivers will soon face fines if caught behind the wheel with the device in hand. That also means that using hands-free technology is now a must when making those phone calls while driving. Texting while driving is also something that can already land you in trouble with the law, but now those laws are even stronger for fines and issues for drivers to be caught doing it. Now, aside from work that's already being done with the Strategic Highway Safety Plan back in 2019, these new bills will hopefully continue to decrease the number of fatalities that we see on the highway and on the roads in general. The goal is to see zero traffic deaths by the year of 2050. Governor Whitmer says it's already similar bills that have been passed in Ohio that's already making a big difference.
Ohio just recently changed their law. They've already seen demonstrable drop in terms of deaths. I think that we could extrapolate from that and look over, what 4 years could have meant for lives. So I think that you can figure that out. All I can say is this new legislature has come in. They've taken a number of actions to keep people safer.
And these new bills go into effect on June the 30th, so you guys keep that in mind. Victor Williams, Local 4.
Yeah, the governor's symbolism there, really powerful, signing that at a hockey rink named for one of those victims lost to that one of those accidents. All right, Victor. That thick haze over Metro Detroit this week impacting our air quality. You can see it from our live cameras there on the horizon there. That's smoke from the Canadian wildfires that has made its way over to the U.S. now. IQ Air Quality Index, which ranks the worst and best air quality around the world, says Detroit right now today has the second worst. That's in the world, folks. New York is third. The only city ranking higher is Delhi, India. Exposure can impact the lungs and heart, so it's a good idea to put off any yard work you might have, any outdoor exercises. Experts also recommend keeping the windows and doors shut today. And in case you needed video proof of New York City, take a look at that. Hard to even see the skyline with all the smoke there. New York City public schools have canceled all outdoor activities today because of that air quality alert. And there's still that danger of wildfires in place statewide. The DNR says there have been more days this year with high or extreme fire danger than anything else. They say 98% of wildfires are caused by us, humans, and most happen when people are trying to burn yard waste.
Biggest thing right now is just avoid burning. There's no reason to be burning yard waste right now. Wait for some rain, consider other alternatives. There's mulching, composting. And remember too that a lot of yards are drying right up, but there's weeds that grow. There's a weed called buckthorn. A lot of people like to mow that down. Well, if your grass is completely dead, and all it takes is a spark from that lawnmower blade to hit a stone, and that will start a fire.
Rogers would also point out a grill that might have charcoal in it that could easily fall to the ground, spark something. The DNR has been called to 193 fires this year. 3,000 acres have been burned so far. Much of that, though, from the one big fire near Grayling this past week. Let's bring in meteorologist Ashley Barrissey now. And the bottom line here in all this, Ashley, is we need that rain.
Absolutely. The good news is we have some soaking rain in the 7-day forecast. The bad news, we still have to wait a couple days for that to get here. So bear with us, be patient, and use all of those tips. We have that air quality alert to start with. That's brand new at this hour for all of southeastern Michigan, both today and again on Thursday, because of the wildfire smoke creating a concentration of particles really at the ground level, making it unhealthy for you to be breathing in or overexerting yourself outside. So 70s this week in the forecast with an 80 popping up this weekend, but the rain chances rise, especially the tail end of the weekend. You can see the haze out in downtown Detroit right now. 71 degrees is where we currently sit. We have a northerly breeze, so it's a little bit of a cool breeze out there at about 8 miles per hour, but that dew point in the 30s, that shows us just how dry the air mass is here across Metro Detroit. Once again, air quality will be unhealthy for sensitive groups, so those that might suffer from asthma today and tomorrow. And then we were just talking about the fire conditions and the fire concerns. Red flag warnings for the northern part of lower Michigan and up in the UP for today. Those rain chances do increase as we head into the weekend. Quick look at the rest of your day. Hazy sunshine topping out around 74. We'll give you an hour-by-hour look at those rain showers that are so anticipated coming up.
All right, Ashley. Pope Francis back in the hospital today undergoing surgery to his intestine. The Vatican says the 86-year-old pontiff was suffering from a painful hernia that formed over a previous scar, likely caused by surgery to have part of his intestine removed 2 years ago. The Pope is expected to be put under general anesthesia for today's procedure and should be staying at the hospital in Rome for several days. A man accused of helping in the plot to kidnap Michigan's governor pleading guilty today. It marks the 9th conviction in state and federal courts since agents broke up that scheme in 2020. Sean Fox, admitted to providing material support for an act of terrorism and strategizing how to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer at her vacation home in Antrim County. The guilty plea was a change from the original not guilty plea. In return, prosecutors agreed to drop a weapons charge. He is one of 5 people charged in this part of the investigation. 3 other men face a trial in August. Fix agreed to testify against them if called by prosecutors. Former Vice President Mike Pence is one of the latest Republicans to join the 24 presidential race. The former VP looking to distance himself from the current GOP frontrunner who just happens to be his old boss, Donald Trump. NBC's Bree Jackson in Washington.
2 former Trump allies have now turned into political challengers now that former Vice President Mike Pence and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie have entered the presidential race. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie jumping into an already crowded field of Republicans running in the 2024 presidential race.
There isn't just one brush to paint our party with.
Christie took aim at the current frontrunner, former President Donald Trump, who Christie endorsed in 2016.
Beware of the leader who won't admit any of those shortcomings.
In an online post, Trump weighed in on his former advisor's presidential bid, blasting Christie as a failed governor. Their feud brings into focus the growing number of former Trump allies turning into political foes. Former Vice President Mike Pence officially declaring he's running too.
Today, before God and my family, I'm announcing I'm running for President of the United States.
I think people are anxious for somebody to come in and try to punch Donald Trump in the nose.
Potential voters are divided over whether more options will help or harm Trump's chances of a rematch with President Biden.
Everyone loves and supports Donald Trump. I'm not going to say that for myself, but I know he has a very huge following.
I don't think Trump is strong. I think he appears strong, but is actually morally and ethically weak.
North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum also expected to join the race this week, an expanding field of candidates, all seeking to make the case that they should become the Republican nominee. And Chris Christie finished 6th in the 2016 New Hampshire primary before dropping out of the presidential race. And later today, former Vice President Mike Pence, he'll meet with supporters in Iowa. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
And off we go. All right, Bree. The auto show shifting into high gear, and it will be bigger than ever come September. The show will be open to the public from September 16th to the 24th. Expect double the number of brands taking part this year. The show will also feature new exhibits, including a new indoor track where people can ride in electric cars alongside professional drivers. The auto show held its first September event last year after moving it out of the month of January.